We got through number 18 yesterday. Actually, we got through number 21. Okay, so we're on to 22, which is tort reform. Now, guys, when you hear the word tort, a lot of Americans don't know what this means. Tort, we have two types of law in the United States. Okay, you've got criminal law, when somebody violates a rule or a law, and there's a consequence for it, right? And then you have what's called civil law. That's where you and I might sue each other over something, okay? Like I buy something from you and it doesn't work and you don't give me my money back, you know, I'm going to sue you for that, okay? That's tort, okay? That's basically when we talk about tort. Now, in this case, we're talking about medical malpractice lawsuits. You guys know what malpractice is, right? When somebody that is a doctor or a hospital or a nurse messes up, okay, and they get sued. These happen more often than you think, okay, these malpractice lawsuits. So doctors and hospitals have to have insurance, just like you do, to drive a car in the state of Kansas. You have to have insurance. In case you cause an accident, they don't take away your house. The insurance covers you for the cost of that accident. Does that make sense? They don't come after your assets. So doctors and hospitals have to have this insurance, liability, in case something goes wrong. Okay? Now, if there are a lot of these lawsuits that cost the insurance companies that insure the doctors and hospitals, if there's a bunch of lawsuits, what happens to the cost of insurance for the doctors and hospitals? It goes up. When you get in 4 car accidents before the age of 20, what happens to your auto insurance prices? They go up, okay? Especially if you're a male. Okay, male teen drivers pay more than female teen drivers for insurance. Because the statistics show men are idiots, okay? So that's how the world works. Okay, so the idea with tort reform is to reform the medical malpractice system to place limits on how much a victim of malpractice can sue for. So let me give you a couple of hypotheticals. All right, you're having really bad stomach pain, okay, and they can't figure out what's going on. They do an ultrasound, they do they scan you. They can't find out. You just get this excruciating pain. So you go in there, we're going to do surgery. We're going to open you up, look what's going on in your stomach. You go in there, they start cleaning you up. You know, there's a little infection in there, and they close you back up. But what they forgot was a sponge in your stomach. And they sewed you back up. And so over the next 2-3 weeks, you're having excruciating pain again in your stomach. This was worse than it was before. And they're like, I don't know what's wrong. What's going on? So they scan it, there's something in there. Oh, crap. We left the sponge in there. And now it's infected. And now we got to open you back up again. You missed 3 weeks of work. You're going to miss more recovering from that. You have all this excruciating pain and suffering. How much are you going to sue them for? Lost wages, cost of the surgery, pain and suffering. How much is that pain and suffering worth to you? Now, if you get this case in front of a jury, okay, and you describe the pain, show the scar, the second scar, okay? You know what I mean? Juries are going to be sympathetic. So how much are you going to shoot for? Give me a number. How much money? 200,000.
2 million.
Oh, 2 million?
He's a doctor.
Well, you might as well shoot high, right? Maybe the jury gives it to you.
Holy crap.
Okay.
500K. 500K. Yeah, that's
Okay, 500,000. Okay. Now, that's for pain and suffering, the stomach, okay? Now, here's another one. You have diabetes. You're in your 60s. And you're pretty stagnant. You don't exercise much, and you sit around a lot, and it affects the blood flow to your legs, okay, and your feet. And so this person stands up, and their foot's numb. There's no blood flow getting there. They go to the hospital, and because there's not been blood flow to that foot in a long time, it's dead. You're going to have to amputate your right foot. You go in for the surgery, and they make a big mistake. They cut off your left foot. They're still going to have to remove the right foot. So now you have no feet. Now, will prosthetics work here? I don't know. You might be wheelchair bound. So that means you're going to have to buy an automobile that you can drive with without using your feet. And you're going to need to make your house accessible to wheelchair. It's going to affect whatever career you had. If you worked on your feet or what have you, it's going to affect the rest of your life. How much?
2 million, 3 million.
Let's shoot for
10 million.
We'll go 2 million. Okay. Now, insurance right now for these two cases off the hook for 2.5 million. Now, generally, guys, they do not like these to go to trial. So the insurance company is going to come back at you. You asking for 2 million? Will you take 750,000?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay. How about 1 million?
No.
Don't have to go to trial or anything?
No.
1 million?
Oregon.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 1.5.
Okay.
Okay, we settled it, right? Because the insurance company does not want to go to trial. Okay, so most of these are settled, and people will ask for a lot more money than. Now, some states have put caps on how much you can ask for pain and suffering. And that cap in Kansas is about 125,000 for pain and suffering. Now, obviously, there's going to be cause for, missed work and stuff like that, wages lost. Here's the thing. If insurance company knows it's not going to get hit with these major lawsuits, they can charge less for their insurance to the doctors and hospitals. If there's no caps and you get a slew of these lawsuits, what happens to the price of insurance for the doctors and hospitals? It goes up. How do they recoup that? By charging more for health care. This is one of the reasons why healthcare is expensive in this country, is because we have so many damn lawyers. The ambulance chasers. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? The ambulance chasers. It's okay to say no.
What does that mean?
Better call Saul. Now, so what lawyers, there's actually lawyers that do this, okay? There's an accident, like a car accident, there's an ambulance. They follow the ambulance to the hospital. They go talk to the person that was in the wreck. If it wasn't their fault, say, hey, I can be your lawyer and we'll sue them. So they chase the ambulance to the hospital so that they have a client. And there's people that do that. Because we have a lot of lawyers. There's a lot of competition. You see billboards for it all the time. In an accident, call da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Okay? That's how they make a living, by suing doctors and hospitals. Or other insurance companies, right? So if we could place caps on certain things, we could maybe help the insurance companies figure out statistically how many mistakes happen in an average year, how much they need to budget, and then maybe we can bring those premiums that doctors and hospitals have to pay under control, which might bring down healthcare costs a little bit in this country. But let me give you one more scenario. Wrongful death. You go in for a routine surgery. You're 18 years old and you got to get your appendix out. And they administer the wrong drug. And it kills you. Now, that 18-year-old had a whole life in front of him. you put a price on a human life. What if it happened to an 85-year-old that went in for a routine surgery and it happened? They have already gone past life expectancy. So if you have a cap for people maybe over the age of 75, those between 50 and 75, a cap, between 20 and 50, and those under, 25, like a cap. Obviously, the lower the person was, the younger the person was, the higher the cap might be. But nonetheless, you have a cap. Now, doctors and hospitals are really careful. My son Jack's had a couple hand surgeries in his life, and they always write on the hand they're not operating on in magic marker, no. So they don't operate on the wrong hand. Okay? They're very careful about this, but mistakes do happen. Okay? We are human. So if you think we can, let me just give you one more. So like my mother and father-in-law used to live in West Virginia, and they had no caps on malpractice. And so the insurance for doctors was really expensive. And so doctors started leaving the state because they couldn't practice healthcare and make a living in West Virginia. So finally the state legislature had to put some caps on. Okay. So really the caps that like Kansas has some, they're fairly low. I mean, you guys start throwing out 500,000, 2 million, they're fairly low. Like I said, 125, I think, is what Kansas has for pain and suffering. 125,000. Well, which is a lot of money, but All right. So, think we can do some caps? Say yes. If you're like, every case is different, maybe I don't feel comfortable with that, then say no. Okay. All right. Number 23, drilling for oil in the Gulf of Mexico and ANWR. You guys know what ANWR is? It's called the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge. Okay. It's a pristine part of Alaska that there's been no oil exploration done. Okay. It's pristine. You got the wildlife there, you got the caribou, right? Now, do we drill for oil in Alaska now already? Yes. There's a lot of oil in Alaska. Okay. We built a pipeline back in the 1950s and 60s from Alaska down to the continental U.S. You guys have heard of the Keystone Pipeline? That's been in the news. Okay. In Canada, there's these oil sands. It's like these large fields that you dig in the ground. It's like sand, but it's got oil in it. Okay. And they've been transporting those oil sands by railroad for years. So it's not like we're going to stop using this oil, but they wanted to build a pipeline. Okay, so it's $30 a barrel to transport by train, $10 a barrel to transport by pipeline. And it would create a lot of jobs. Now, there's people in this country that want us to do, get rid of our addiction to fossil fuels, right? I mean, there's people that want, hey, we need to go green energy, so we don't need to be doing projects like this. Okay, but either way, the oil's going to keep coming. Now, that pipeline would have gone down through Nebraska and Kansas down into this part of the Gulf Coast. This is where we have a lot of oil refineries. Because you get oil, you got to refine it into different types of gases. Kerosene, gasoline, jet fuel. What else? What do you use for your grill? Propane. Okay, all these different gases that we can get from oil. Okay, and so those refineries are generally down here on the Gulf Coast. Now, guys, oil is traded as a worldwide commodity. It's a world market. Okay. Now, for the first time, 2 years ago, the United States of America produced enough oil to be energy independent, where we would not need any oil from the Middle East or Mexico or Russia or anybody else. We're producing enough of it here. Now, even though we're energy independent, we still trade. We still buy and sell oil. So a lot of oil from Alaska goes to like Japan, the Far East. Okay, And then we still import oil from the Middle East. It's all logistics and different parts of the country. But what is the tool that made us energy independent? Something we started doing about 10 years ago. Fracking. You guys know fracking? Okay, under our feet, not here, but if you go down to Oklahoma, or you go up to South Dakota and North Dakota, or you go to Texas, you go to Colorado, you dig into the ground, there's rock. In that rock, it's called oil shale. You drill into that rock, there's oil in the rock. You send in high pressure water and chemicals into that rock. You break it apart and you take back out of the ground oil. Okay, the chemicals separate everything, the oil. Okay, it's more expensive to frack than it is to just drill into an oil field. Okay, which is what they have in Anwar, is a big, huge oil field under this Alaska National Wildlife Refuge. Now, the good news is that we used to have to drill here, drill here, drill here, drill here. But today, we can drill here and drill underground over there and underground over there. So your footprint is here, but you're drilling over there. You follow me? Like horizontal drilling. Okay? We have that ability. So if we were to drill in Anwar, the footprint would be very small. And usually there's not a lot of accidents with, oil rigs on the ground. Okay? So it's not going to hopefully screw up the environment. You know what I mean? Now, Obama said no, we're not doing that. Okay? Trump said, yep, we're doing that. Biden just signed an executive order, of which he signed 20 so far. It's the most in the history of any president. Okay? He signed 20 executive orders in his first week. And one of them was to not allow drilling in the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge. Okay? And he shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Okay? Now, does that mean we are no longer being energy independent? The next one he signed prohibited any new fracking permits on federal lands. Okay, which we do have a lot of oil exploration on our federal lands. We just talked about this in history with the Secretary of the Interior. Okay, leasing federal lands for fracking. No more of that. No new ones. Okay. So does this threaten our energy independence? I don't know, to be honest, yet. It is going to cost some people their jobs. All those people that welders and so forth that were going to work on that pipeline, they're thinking around 11,000 jobs that are gone because the pipeline being gone. Okay. Now, if you feel like, you know what, we're too dependent on fossil fuels and we need to find other ways, then you may agree with the Biden administration on that. Okay. Now, there's also oil in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. Now, you guys remember Deepwater Horizon, BP oil spill in the Gulf? Mark Wahlberg did a movie called Deepwater Horizon. Okay, like Mark.
Yeah, Dylan O'Brien's in it too.
Okay. Well, Wahlberg's one of my favorites. We watch all his movies, except that one Ted or whatever it was. But anyhow, BP was drilling out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. It is really deep. And so when that drill bit where it meets the ground, that structure there broke, oil was pumping out of the ground, out of the seabed, the seafloor, into the Gulf of Mexico for weeks. A huge oil slick in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay? They had a hard time turning that off because it was so deep. And you could not legally drill along the Florida coast. You can drill on the Texas coast and on the Louisiana coast, but not the Florida coast. You guys ever been to the beach in Florida? Okay. You want to be laying on the beach and looking out and seeing an oil rig right out there? And if there was one, say, half a mile out, it looked pretty big. It'd be big. And if oil leaked out of that, it would get to the beach really quick, yes? So they have a moratorium on the Atlantic coast as well. But if if you could drill 3 miles out, the rig would look about that big while you're laying on the beach. You'd see it out there, 3 miles away, okay? But we'd also have a lot of access to oil here, okay? So that isn't going to change under Biden for sure. So I'm just throwing it out there. There's, people that, if something happens in the Middle East, there's another war, that affects the price of oil for everybody in the world. If there is a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, even before that hurricane hits, while it's a tropical storm, gas prices are going up. Oil prices are going up because that's where all the refineries are. If it's a major hurricane, then the refineries are going to get shut down. There's going to be a cut in supply of gasoline. And so prices go up. Okay, by being energy independent, we don't have to worry about so much what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening with Russia, who are major oil suppliers. Okay, we can do it on our own if we have to. Okay, that's energy security. So do you want to develop these sources, or hold them back, maybe for a rainy day or something? One thing's for sure, guys, we have enough oil shale under our feet in this country to last us hundreds of years. Now, how many of you guys have felt an earthquake? They think that a lot of these earthquakes are coming from Oklahoma because of fracking. Okay, because they're breaking up the rock. Okay, now thankfully none of them have been really bad. Okay, I think I've felt 2. But I live out east, and there were 2 a couple weeks ago that they said the epicenter was like right near my house. Okay. I wasn't home or didn't feel it or slept through it or something. I don't know. Okay. But okay, so you guys can decide on that. And then the last one's just kind of an ideological question. Is the government doing more than it should do? Okay, if you look at the Constitution, which we are going to do one of these days, are they going beyond the role that they were meant to play in our system? Are they doing too much? Some of you, like if you think we should have Medicare for all, then you think, no, the government's not doing enough. Okay? Once upon a time, we learned about this in history, right? Where in the 1920s, the government just didn't do much. That all changed under the New Deal and during the Depression. Okay, so where do you think we're at? Okay, this is just an ideological question. You decide. Okay? All right, now, this is what I need you to do. Add up your yeses and nos. Oh, sorry. My mind is not working. All right. Do your math? All right. Now listen. You guys do not have to participate on this if you don't want to, but I would like it if you did, just so I know who I'm dealing with and how you think a little bit, okay? Because it helps me, all right? I know who I'm dealing with, okay? So, please participate, but you don't have to, okay? I take care of people if they're different than you. If you are different than everybody else, I will look out for you. I will take care of you, okay? I will be nice to you, I promise, okay? All right, so let's play. All right, did anybody have 18 or more yeses? That's it? Okay. 15 or more yeses. Don't raise your hand again. Oh my gosh. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of each.
I haven't watched the video from yesterday, but I'm.
Wait, you're talking about yeses?
Yes or no? You split here. Is that you? All right. 4. 15 or more no's. 18 or more no's?
Call them what they are, Mr. Bright.
It's all right. It's all right. It's good. It's good to know. Okay? Listen, to me, and I mean this, I seriously mean this. The most important voice in the room is the one that disagrees. Okay? If we were all here, we'd be like a bunch of little fascists running around. We don't need that. Okay?
I forgot to choose one.
Okay.
It's like, forgot about that.
Okay. Did it make a difference?
I haven't decided, but if it did, yes, it would make a difference.
Up here or down here? Okay. So maybe here?
Maybe there.
Okay. All right. Did I count you here? All right. That's all right. It's 6, 1/2 dozen or no. All right. Now, so some of you three moderates, where are you again? That's the ones I'll give a hard time. These people that are on the fence, okay? Now, if you had, say, 14 yeses, you may lean a little bit up here, okay? Now, for the one, okay, that had 18 yeses, this is a conservative. Okay? Now, Kinsey, did you have 19? 18? Okay. If you go much higher than that, we start to really start calling you a right winger. Okay? Right wing. Okay? And then if you go to like 20, 21, 22, reactionary. That's what those terms political science issues. Okay?
You had any reactionaries?
Oh, yeah. Now, 2. You are a mainstream Republican. Or your views align with the mainstream of the Republican Party. Okay? Now, these two groups comprise between 35 and 40% of the American population. Okay?
Represent.
Yeah. Okay? The moderates. You know, the ones in the middle, the ones that are on the fence, that are wishy-washy, can't make up their mind people. Yeah, those people. You're about 20% of the population. These are the moderates. Okay? 15 to 20%. Okay? All right. Down here, 15 or more no's would be mainstream Democrats. So where you fall, your beliefs fall in line generally there. And then 18 or more no's tend to be pretty liberal. Now, did you go 19? 18? Okay. If you go any further than that, we're going to probably call you progressive. And if you go any further than that, we're going to call you socialist. Okay? These two make up between 40 and 45% of the American people. Okay? There are more registered Democrats in the United States than there are Republicans. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean they always vote that way. Okay? So, like, if you go back to 2016, you saw a lot of Democrats voting for Donald Trump. Okay? The parties are changing. Okay? Now, if I were to draw this on a wing, you know what that is? That's the fence. That's where our moderates are. Okay, right here in the middle. Okay? We go to the right, we get Republicans, right? We go to the left, we get Democrats. Conservative, right? Liberal, progressive, reactionary. Go all the way to the right, get fascism. Go all the way to the left, the communism. Okay? Now, this is okay. This is easy to understand. All right? Now, most Americans are in here. Okay? So when we have an election, a national election, or even some state elections, during the primary season when they're running against other Republicans and Democrats to be the candidate, they tend to move away from the middle to get the hardcore people, okay? When you get to the general election where the Democrat's running against the Republican, they tend to move to the middle to get these people to vote for them. Does that make sense? So depending on whether you were closer here, you may align, yeses or nos here, will tell you whether you maybe align a little bit more with the Republicans, a little bit more with the Democrats, okay? Now, there's a better way to do this, okay, than the left wing, right wing. It's simple and easy to understand, but there's a better way. And that better way can be found on page 6 of your book, at the bottom. It's a circle, okay? And so you see there at the top in the middle? They're still there, okay? But you go to the right, okay? You see where the Republican government goes around to the right, your conservatives, radical right, and then Democrats, liberals, radical left, okay? Now, you guys, a lot of you will remember when we talked about fascism last semester, okay? We talked about 4 characteristics of fascism. A strong leader, right? You have a crisis, constant state of crisis. And then you need action to deal with that. And sometimes there's a symbol involved with it, okay? And I had you read an article about the New Deal and the National Recovery Administration and how some refer to that as fascism from the left, not from the right, as this would show you, okay? What we can do here with this circular graph, guys, there they are, okay, is down here where the fascists and the communists meet, they have way more in common than they do not. Okay, and usually, as it says on there, guys, a willingness to violate the law, totalitarian systems of government, a willingness to violate the Constitution to gain power. Okay, and as fascism, it comes through crisis. And they allow private ownership in fascism, but government control over private ownership when it comes to businesses, production, and so forth. In communism, you're not allowed private property, and you have control by the government. Okay, that's supposed to be equalizing for everybody. Okay, which doesn't tend to work. Okay, so these have more in common. So these are not polar opposites. You understand? Okay. Now you might say conservative and liberals are polar opposites. Okay. Now you got to be careful with these terms. Liberal. All of the founding fathers were classical liberals. What is the root of the word liberal? Liberty, freedom, right? Now that means both economic freedom and social freedom. Okay? All of the founders were classical liberals. Modern liberals are different than classical liberals. You got to be careful with this language here. Okay? Modern liberalism and classic liberalism are different. Okay? As I will get to. I got 4 minutes? Oh, sweet. Okay. All right. Now, I have up on the top of your page 7 there, libertarian. Okay? So I want to talk about that. All right? Now, there are lots of online exercises that you can do to figure out whether you're liberal or conservative, what have you. You can play around with these. They're kind of fun. Kinsey, were you in my current events class? Oh, I thought I had you at an earlier date. I guess it's just because of house, but I taught people that are seniors now, when they were freshmen, I had some of them in my current event. I taught current events that year. So I know I had Enrique and a couple other seniors. But anyhow, and we had them go online and try these different ones. Okay, they're really easy. They're fun. Okay, let's talk about what a libertarian believes, right? If I were to break down these 24 issues I did with you, okay, I'm just going to be simple. Okay, we'll break these down. Okay, you got pocketbook issues, things like taxes, government spending, big program. Okay, things that are going to cost money. Bedroom issues, okay, like abortion, gay marriage, things like this. Okay, social issues. Okay, and then you've got issues of war and peace, or hawks versus doves. Okay, hawks, predators, doves, peace, love, happiness. Okay, all right. Now, so when we look at the parties, when you talk about the Republicans, okay, they don't want your money. They want you to keep your money. You know better how to spend your money than the government does. You work hard for it, you keep it. Okay? So they're not getting in on that. They don't want to spend your money. Okay? Democrats, they want your money because they want to do good with it. Okay? They can fix society. Social engineering. They can fix society because they're smart. They know how to better spend your money than you. Okay? All right. Then you go to the bedroom issues. Now, Republicans tend to be kind of your family values people. You know what I mean? They're pro-life, not so sure about this whole homosexual thing going on here. It's a little bit odd to me. I don't really understand it, that sort of thing. So they try and pass laws that promote certain values. Now, you can't legislate morality. You can't do it. People are people, and people are going to behave the way they want to. You can't legislate it, but you can promote certain things, like marriage. The tax code, as I said the other day, right? If you're married, filing jointly, you pay less in taxes than you do if you're not. Okay? So Republicans like to get involved in that, rightly or wrong. Okay? Democrats are like, it's your body. You do what you want with it. The government has no right to tell you what you do with your body, what you do in your bedroom. It's not their business. Okay? So a lot of Democrats tend to be pro-choice. They also tend to be more forgiving to the ideas of homosexuality and so forth. Okay? And try not to enact laws restricting those things. Okay? When it comes to war and peace, this is tough. Okay? If you look back at American history, go back to World War I, Woodrow Wilson was a Democrat. World War II, Democrat. Korea, Democrat. Vietnam, Democrat. Go to the Gulf War in 1989-90, Republican. Afghanistan, Republican. Iraq War, Republican. Okay? Republicans tend to be a little more hawkish, but it depends on who you're talking about. Like, say, Hillary Clinton. You're not going to classify her as a dove. She's a hawk. Hillary's a hawk. No, when I'm talking about foreign policy, when she was Secretary of State, what we did in Libya and so forth. Okay, so she's a hawk. I don't know about life. Trump was a dove. Trump wanted to get his people out, get our people out of these countries. Okay, which is, it's interesting. Okay, so it depends on who's in power. Okay, now let's talk about the libertarians. Okay. No. Stay out of my pocketbook. Small government. The Constitution gives the power of government to do these things, and it should only do these things. Okay? Army, Navy, for defensive purposes only. Okay? And post offices, yes, they can do that. Yeah, they can help with roads. Border control, okay. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want from government, okay? Bedroom, I'm a free person. The government has no business telling me what I do with my body or what I put in my body. I'm a free human being. Leave me alone. I don't need you telling me how to live my life. Period. Okay? So libertarians tend to be for legalization of certain drugs and so forth. I have met pro-life libertarians, but they're few and far between. Most libertarians tend to be pro-choice when it comes to abortion because of their belief in you having sovereignty over yourself. Okay? When it comes to war and peace, we are not getting involved in other people's business. Our military is for defensive purposes only. We're not getting involved. Isolationists. Okay? Some people are attracted to this. Some young people are attracted to libertarianism. Okay? I've heard people come up with the term conservatarian. Okay? So that might be a pro-life libertarian, right? Conservative values, social issues, but libertarian everything else. Okay? It's a mix. And that, guys, obviously we're a divided country, right? And the thing is, there's a pendulum, okay? In this last election, did the pendulum swing left with President Biden being elected? Okay? Yes, but, and they won 4 Senate seats. The Democrats took 4 seats. But the Republicans won, of all the tightly contested races, the Republicans picked up 25 seats in the House. So 2020, they're already thinking about it, right? 2022, excuse me. The midterm elections coming up in 2022. What generally happens, the party that is in power loses in the midterm elections. So the pendulum should swing back to the right in 2022. Guys, it happened in 1994. Bill Clinton won the presidency in 92 in one bid and started implementing a bunch of stuff, and the country said, whoa, hold up now, we're going back to the right. Okay? And then in 2000, when Bush was elected, he had a Republican Congress. They started doing some stuff, right? And in 2002, the country said, whoa, we're going back to the left. Okay, what happened in 2010? Obama was elected in 2008. Democrats controlled both houses, started swinging to the left, and in 2010, the people said, no, we're going back to the right. Okay, Trump's elected in 2016, both houses controlled by the Republicans. 2018, blue wave, swings back to the left. So if history is an indicator, Democrats will only really have control over both houses and the White House for 2 years. What can they get done? This is the stuff we're going to be paying attention to in here, guys. Okay? And as new policies come forward, we'll talk about them. You guys should try this out on mom or dad. Okay? And if you can't explain it to them, show them my video. Okay? Have a great day. Like I said, I'm gonna be gone Friday, so I'm gonna have something for you to do. I'm gonna lecture tomorrow, notes. So if you're at home, you can come in live or take the notes, get them, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna be lecturing tomorrow. Okay.
Wait.
So Thursday. But Friday I'm not here. You'll do something in class. Okay, Mr. Holden. Peace.
So yes, lecture tomorrow or no?
Lecture Thursday,
I was
not Wednesday.
I was talking to Jonah, the kid's like, I'm the only conservative in my class. It's so weird. I'm gonna be like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's it. Those are interesting numbers, to say the least.
Cool.